Please state your name and that of your Christmas tree farm and its location.
I'm Henry Helms. Name of the farm is Helms Christmas Tree Farm. It's located in a little community of Vale, North Carolina. The actual address is 6345 Christmas Tree Lane.
And when and why did you start growing Christmas trees, Henry?
I started growing Christmas trees when I was about 10 years old. I was helping a neighbor farmer at that time, and he was growing a few Christmas trees, and it was just something that I enjoyed doing, and it just evolved to as I grew older and got away from the farm, I started growing trees for myself.
What species do you grow and why those particular ones?
Right now we're growing white pines, red cedars, Leland cypress, Carolina sapphire, Colorado blue spruce, white spruce, and green giant.
And what challenges have you experienced?
The challenges predominantly are keeping up with the grass and the insects and keeping them sprayed, and the shearing. It's there's a lot more to growing Christmas trees than just sticking them out in the field and letting them grow. If you don't tend them and stay in your trees, they're going to reflect that care that you give them.
When you started, Henry, did you get assistance from anyone, and if so, from whom?
Yes, I did. As I stated a few minutes ago, I was working with a neighbor of mine at the age of 10. His name was John B. Wagoner, over in Guilford County. John was very instrumental in about everything that I do. He instilled a work ethic in me to do the best that I could do at all times, and everything I do reflects back on that family. John is still living today, and his twin brother Fred. I worked with both of those guys for, ever since about 1958. So we go back a long, long way. Somebody I always enjoyed being around and working with and for.
What changes have you seen in growing trees and in the Christmas tree business through the years?
Well, the business has changed a lot with the help of NC State University and the forestry department. They have helped the Christmas tree growers tremendously in being able to keep up with things that'll help us to grow better trees by giving us better plants, and they're constantly out in the field trying to eliminate some of our pest problems, our weed problems, and to give us better plants. So with that, the industry has changed tremendously. Some of the first Christmas trees that were grown here in North Carolina were wildings, the Fraser fir up in the mountains. And one of the things that sort of got it pushed off was the Boston woolly adelgea was killing the trees on Roan Mountain. And in an effort to save those, wildlings were pulled and replanted here in North Carolina. We found out that they were excellent for Christmas trees, and So that's where people started making Christmas tree farms, and it grew to very rapidly. And at one time, about anybody that had a little side yard, more than 20 foot wide, they planted Christmas trees on it. It was a source of income, and everybody wanted to get in on the bandwagon.
What new problems are faced?
New problems, I don't know that I understand the question. New problems, we're constantly seeing different diseases that attack the trees, different insects. I mean, just when we think that we know it all and got everything conquered, here will come another disease or insect that will attack the trees, and we have to figure out what it is and how to combat it. And we're very thankful that we here in North Carolina have one of the best Christmas tree programs or agriculture departments that will help us in identifying these problems.
How do you see the future of the industry?
It's going to continue to grow. Right now, we're number 2 in the nation, second only to Oregon. They produce more trees, but we produce a better tree. I think that as time goes by, sometimes we have a tendency to plant more trees than we need, wanting to catch that dollar, so to speak. Sometimes we get more trees than we can possibly sell, and that is not good for us or for the industry, and consequently this has forced some people into bankruptcy. I feel like maybe they were just a little bit too greedy and tried to plant too many. But those things seem to come around and correct themselves. Now, we may have a glut of trees at one time, but if you look down the road another 6 to 7 years, then we're going to be almost behind the 8 ball needing more trees. Because everything evolves around, when you've got not enough trees, everybody goes out and plants 4 times more than they should, and by the time those have grown, then everybody's got them, and nobody can sell them, at the price that they would like to. And we've seen this not only in North Carolina, but Michigan and the Northwest. All the areas have had their problems along this. But in the end, it comes right back around that, there will be another day that the prices and the price and the demand, the supply and demand will be equal again.
How long have you been involved with the Eastern North Carolina Christmas Tree Growers Association?
Since its inception. Living here in the Piedmont, I'm right between the 2 associations, the North Carolina Christmas Tree in the west, and the Eastern Growers, of course, in the east. So I am a member of both those organizations, as well as the National Christmas Tree Association and the South Carolina Christmas Tree Association, because it is just across the border here from me, and it's the South Carolina Association is within an hour's drive of me, and they have a lot of the same problems that we do. So I feel like that I can learn from them a little bit, some of their problems, maybe the same thing that I'm having, and we can learn from each other. And that's the whole purpose of these associations, is try to help one another to grow a better Christmas tree.
Henry, please share any stories, thoughts you like regarding your years in growing and selling trees.
Well, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. It's a lot of hard work. My wife don't quite understand, why the love for the farming and growing of Christmas trees, why the long hours, and when I come in just barely dragging, she, is it worth it? Yes, it is. It's worth it. When you see the little kids come in and their faces light up when you hand them or their parents a saw to go out and cut their own tree, that's what it's all about, and it's become a family tradition for people to cut their own Christmas tree, and we started that by accident several years ago. My son that helped me had cut his hand and he couldn't hold a saw, and that was early in the year, and in the middle of the year I hurt my hand and I literally could not hold a saw because we normally cut all the trees. So we had to ask people to cut their own tree that year. And the next year I was well enough to do it, but their first thing when I got out of the car was, can we cut our tree again this year? So, there a new industry was born for me. 98% of the trees that leave this farm are cut by the customer now. Of course, we always offer assistance, in any way that we can. If someone wants, we'll cut the tree for them, drag it up, process it, and tie it on their vehicle, which 98% of the time we put on their vehicle and fasten it down anyway. We want people to arrive home with that newly acquired tree that some people have not had the opportunity to learn to tie knots and secure stuff like they should. So we offer that assistance.
Well, Henry, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, John.